now that this has become my little journal here. How long this will last, I have no idea, honestly. This could be my last video, to be completely honest, but today I just wanted to I'm walking in the park and I'm thinking about how much I don't trust myself. And here's what I realized. The reason that I don't trust myself is simply because, and it has to only do with like big life decisions, not like what I dress in or what I eat or anything like that, or how I may be feeling if I'm feeling a little sick. Actually, sick and health is on there as a decision that I don't always completely trust myself in. But I generally just I don't trust myself in making bigger life decisions. And what I realized is the reason I don't trust myself is because I'm overly concerned about what other people would think if I were to make certain decisions. Not what I would think, not how I would benefit, not how I would feel. No, that's too simple. No, it has to do with what other people think. And I know you can easily say, oh, well, you shouldn't care what other people think, but I do. Like, even doing this, even making these videos, walking around and talking, I'm at a place where nobody's around. That's comfortable. If somebody was walking down this trail right now, I would be completely uncomfortable. I would think that they were judging me for talking on my phone right now, to talking to myself, for recording it. And that's a huge insecurity of mine. Why would they care? Who are they? They're a stranger. So what would it matter? But to me, it matters. To me, it's a big ordeal. To me, if they were to judge me or make fun of me for simply walking around and recording myself, to me, that's death. It's failure. It means I'm not doing something right in life. And that's generally how I feel. Well, at least that's how my mind interprets it. It's that I'm failing or I'm being judged, which means that they're going to go around and talk about me, even though they have no idea who I am. Well, I don't know what that animal was. Even though they have no idea who I am, so it's not like they can actually reference me. But if they were to see me and judge me, and then they went and told their friend, who I don't know who they are, or a family member or whatever, and I have no connection with them, but they told them, and then all of a sudden, throughout their whole entire family or friend group, I'm a laughingstock. My life, even though I have no idea that this is happening, and I will never know that it happened, and it maybe lasted like a day or two in their life and was that important for them for that long, and they're not doing it anymore, or 5 days from now, it's not a big deal. But if that happened, even though I had no idea that it happened, to me, the possibility of it happening far outweighs the fact or the truth of the matter. It far outweighs who I am as a person, or who I should think that I am as a person. It makes me feel like less than a person. It makes me feel like a failure. It far outweighs everything for me. Everything. Who I truly am. That's kind of like how it feels. So, doing this isn't a comfort at all. Mostly because one factor into that is because of my appearance. My fear that, what if I'm moving the camera too much? Or, which is really my phone, what if I'm moving my phone too much? Or, what if my hair just looks out of place? What if my mouth is out of place? What if the angle isn't right? Those were a lot of my thoughts starting this whole thing. Because if you watch any of my other videos that I have on my channel, you can see that I take great account in detail in the sense of what my background is, how my hair looks, how my face looks, what I'm wearing, what I'm talking about. Am I making sense? All of that. You can see that I take all of that into account in those videos. And if I didn't, if something was off, if the focus was off, if the outfit was off, if the hair was off, if anything was off, the subject matter was off, I wouldn't post it. Because that's how much I care. Because if somebody saw it and then they judged me based on those factors, one of those factors, then I'm ruined. My life is ruined. I'm a disaster. And so forth and so on. That's the spiraling part of that. So that is what matters to me, apparently. And no matter how much I can easily say, oh, it shouldn't matter. It's not that big of a deal. Who cares what people think? They're just strangers. Everybody deals with something. Everybody's insecure about something. We can easily say that. We can easily say that. I can easily say that. I can easily attempt to actually believe those thoughts and not believe the other ones that have the more impact in my life. The failure ones, the judgmental ones, the critical ones. I can try and not listen to them. I can easily see that they're not true. I can see that they're not true. But seeing them and actually believing them are two very different things. And I can't believe them for some reason. Believing that I'm a failure at something is a lot easier than believing that I'm a success at something. Don't ask me why, because I cannot tell you. It's something that I've been a lot of effort. Something I've been truly working on. See, that mess up there would make me want to cringe inside. But honestly, I don't care right now. Because this is just me venting. It's me working out my thought processes. And my thought processes are messy. They're not organized. They're not able to come up with words to describe things. They're not always in the line. They're messy. So for me to sit here, stand here, walk here, I don't know what I'm doing, obviously. My body is just moving. But for me to walk around and try to actually not just make sense, but to always use the right words, pronunciation, to focus on pronunciation, to use big words if they are needed, to make sense, to do any of those things. For me to actually sit there and focus, laser focus on those aspects of this entire conversation will end up leaving me more disoriented than anything. Because like I just said, my mind isn't organized. It's a lot more scattered than organized. And I don't see that as a problem. You can see that as a problem if you want, and you can judge me for it, just like anybody else. But it's just not organized. So when I speak things, talk about things, it comes off unorganized. It may not make a whole lot of sense to you, to the world. But in my mind, in some way, it makes sense. It scatters. It does fix itself and become aligned and make sense, in my mind it makes sense. Or, you know what's even better than this? It's even better than all of that. Is that my mind, my mind actually doesn't make sense. My mind actually doesn't make sense. And my belief in the thoughts that it processes is what keeps me trapped. It's simply my belief. Because my mind being scattered and spiraling and being all off and all over the place, it is what it is. My choice in believing them to be true, believing them to be me, believing them to, especially when I catastrophize and, think worst case scenario, believing that to actually, one day happen, is me being a victim. And I've talked about that before, being a victim to my mind. And when it comes to failure, that's a huge, huge thing. And I'm not sure why. I haven't really understood why. I think it's more of just conditioning over time. I mean, we go to school and what are we told? F is for failure. A is for, perfect, I guess. Or you're smart. And you're not a failure. You're successful. So, in school, we learn it. At home, with our peers, if you have a lot of friends, you must be successful, or smart, or cool. Or rich, because that also, draws the attention of people. But, if you don't have friends, and you sit by yourself and you're isolated, then you might be a failure. You may not be cool. Your personality may not be up to par. And that's what we deal with all the years that we are just growing up. We're dealing with not only our teachers criticizing us or grading us, not really criticizing us, though there are some out there that do just straight up criticize you, but grading you on your knowledge and how much you can retain. Then you have your peers doing the same. If you like weird things that they don't like, then you're weird. And then you're isolated. And then you're rejected from companionship. And then you may be dealing with that at home in some form. Maybe your older sibling or older cousin is always seen as the smart one and the skillful one, the talented one, and you don't get that recognition maybe. Failure and success gets conditioned in us at such an early age and just continues to get conditioned in us throughout our youth, throughout our teen, adolescence, and then early adulthood is when we usually try and mend it out. But you're talking, I just spent 20 years, let's say, being told what failure and success is, the big difference between failure and success. And now I'm going to try and change that. It's not easy. And that's what I'm dealing with. I'm at a point where it's become so potent in my life. This whole failure and success concept and idea, and it's so potent to the point that I have to change it. I feel that I'm in this not, oh, you should change it. No, I have to change it, or I'm not going to be able to live my life the way I want to. Oh, some kid's coming on a bike. I have to be quiet because I might get judged. Oh my god, he saw me. Okay. What was I talking about? Failure, success, failure, success. He's a success. I'm a failure. I can't look weird. Anyway. That's me being me. But I'm at a point where, I'm going to turn around because I'm going kind of deep in the woods here. But I'm at a point where if I don't change, if I don't enhance, if I don't do something about it, I'm going to end up not being happy and not being nice to myself, honestly. It's really just self-criticism. I'm kind of mean to myself mentally, or my mind is mean to me, if you understand that. Let me separate the two. And it's very self-critical because it has this image that it created at probably an early age of what success looks like. And because I haven't fulfilled that image or been able to fulfill that image, it is trying to criticize me into fulfilling that image. It's like a coach, for a sport, and you're just having an off day or whatever. Then you go into the locker room during halftime and he's kind of critiquing you. He's like, you need to do this, you need to do that. But it's not nice critique. It's not like, we're going to make it out of this. It's like, if you don't get it together, we're going to lose the championship. We're going to lose. And this is what you're going to look like at the end of it. You're going to be sad. You're going to be miserable. Look what you're doing to yourself. That voice, right up in here. Right up in here. That's where that voice is. And I can't, evict it, so to speak. I don't know how to. I've done the whole observing my thoughts thing. Just observe them. Don't participate in them, encourage them or whatever. And don't deny them either. Don't try to push them away. I've done that, my spiritual journey here. I've done that multiple times, and it works. I'm not gonna knock it. It has had its benefits. In its moments. The other thing that I'm attempting to do is just look at all my successes that I have had that have not exactly been picturesque. It has not exactly been what my mind would deem a success, but it actually is a success in life. For me, for my journey, it is a success. And it's hard to get my mind to shift in that way, to start seeing things differently. It isn't easy. And when I believe my thoughts, believe the self-critical failure thoughts, so when I don't trust myself. I knew I was going to come around to it. In the beginning, where I was going, I knew I was going to come around to it. No doubt. I was going to come around to the truth in the beginning. What I was telling you is trusting myself. So, because of my view on failure and success, it makes me not trust my decisions, which makes my decisions just open for anybody's opinion or advice, which makes things uncomfortable because there's a part of me that has an opinion on certain life decisions, and then there's the part of me that won't go with it because of that fear of failure or looking like a failure. It's not exactly like me trying to play the piano and then, not doing well or it's taking longer than usual type of failure. No, it's more of maybe starting a new job and it isn't that easy for me, or moving out and that's just not that easy for me. So I want to make those choices. Everything in me wants to make it, but there's all the fear that's behind it. There's all the or distrust that's behind it. So then I wait for somebody else's opinion to tell me, hey, does this seem like it'll work for me? And then if they say yes, then I may force myself because I trust their opinion more than my own. I may force myself into trying it even though I really don't want to. Or I want to try it differently, take baby steps with it or something. I may do that. But I'm trusting other people's opinions instead of my own because of that. Simply because I trust that in my mind, they're a success in their life. So if they're a success in my mind, in life, then they must be able to make my life look like a success. You know, realizing all of this isn't easy either. But it's what's true. It's what's going on up here. And I think venting it out and sharing it actually allows it to be seen differently. It allows it to come up differently. And maybe all in all, it'll help me to trust myself. Like, posting these videos and being the way that I am right now is not natural for me. It's not something that I would think I'd be doing. But there's also a part of me that loves it. And that part is the part that I need to start trusting. That part is the part that I need to start listening to. Because that is what's called intuition. It's not gut feeling. Because my gut tells me a lot about fears. My gut holds all my fears. It's more of just a general higher self intuition. There is a little bug that is just hovering around my phone. So, me doing this, making these videos, regardless of how long they are, regardless of the nonsense that I throw out there, how I look, and so forth and so on, feels like my intuition. Feels like the voice that I need to be listening to, the voice that I need to trust, that I just struggle to do. I also feel that it's because my mind knows that if I start trusting and listening and believing and only going with this intuition, that it's going to lose the control and power that it has over me. And if it does, I mean, you're not the nicest. Be a little bit nicer. Maybe I'll listen. I'm just kidding. But if it loses the power and control that it has, then that's what it needed to do. That's, I think, the fear of the mind, or like people say, the ego. The ego losing its power over you, losing its hold on you. If you start just going with your intuition, going with what's true for you, regardless of what anybody else thinks or says or does, which isn't easy. But if you do it, and you stop listening to the mind, you're no longer observing, just observing it. You're no longer just, trying to deny or resist it. You're no longer actually believing in it. You're truly not believing in it anymore. You're going with your intuition. Completely trusting in your intuition. That's like terrifying to the ego. Or the mind, whatever verbiage you want to use for that thing that's in your brain that's talking all the time. That, when you go against it, it's like, it's afraid. It's scared. It's gonna lose its control. It's gonna lose its power. And if it does, if it loses its power, I mean, I don't know what that's like. I've had moments where I felt it, where I felt that sort of presence and that joy and peace and everything. I've had those moments. But for it to be completely gone for like more than a couple of days, I think it'll be awesome. I mean, that's what all the spiritual teachers talk about, right? It's like amazing. There's like just such peace within. I mean, it sounds awesome. So I'm assuming that's what it's like. I don't know. But this is me trusting myself. This is me succeeding. And thank you for like joining my journey. If you, again, have made it this far, I mean, like, I'm 25 minutes into talking about who knows what. If you made it this far, I appreciate you. Thank you for tuning in to my journal here. I appreciate it. Love and respect. See ya.